And Joseph said unto his brethren, Now I pray you see my face, for that I am your brother, and I am Israel your father's son. Genesis 45 verse 3. How could one man's journey from betrayal to leadership shape the destiny of entire nations? Life in ancient Egypt held both wonder and peril. Joseph, a young boy favored by his father, found himself caught in a web of jealousy and deceit that forced him into slavery. Through trials and triumphs, he rose above adversity, eventually becoming one of the most powerful men in the land. Joseph, a young boy favored by his father Jacob, received vivid dreams that foretold of his future greatness and the submission of his brothers. These prophetic visions, filled with imagery of sheaves bowing before his sheaf and celestial bodies prostrating themselves to him, were unsettling for Joseph's siblings. They saw these dreams as arrogant boasts and a foreshadowing of Joseph's dominance over them. His pronouncements about their future, though fueled by divine inspiration, only deepened the brothers' resentment. Their envy festered into jealousy, poisoning their hearts and leading them down a path of deceit and violence. It was this simmering hatred that would ultimately drive them to sell Joseph into slavery, a decision born from fear and a desperate desire to curtail his perceived power. The dreams, initially a source of confusion and anxiety for Joseph's brothers, became the catalyst for a chain of events that irrevocably shattered their family unity. Their actions, fueled by envy and jealousy, plunged them into a darkness they could not foresee, forever altering the course of their lives. The brothers' jealousy festered into a venomous plot. They conspired to dispose of Joseph, their younger sibling who had been favored by their father. Driven by envy and resentment, they seized upon the opportunity when Joseph was sent to check on their flocks in a distant field. Their deceitful plan unfolded as they stripped Joseph of his colorful robe, leaving him vulnerable and defenseless. They then concocted a lie, telling their father that a wild beast had devoured Joseph, hoping to shield themselves from the consequences of their wicked deed. The brothers' hearts were hardened by deceit, and their actions plunged them into a deep abyss of sin. They sold Joseph into slavery, delivering him into the hands of traders who would transport him to Egypt. Joseph's fate was sealed, his future uncertain as he was thrust into a life of servitude in a foreign land. The brothers, consumed by guilt and remorse, failed to grasp the magnitude of their betrayal. Their actions had severed the bonds of family, leaving behind a trail of devastation that would ripple through generations. Despite his unjust captivity, Joseph's integrity remained steadfast. He diligently performed his duties in Potiphar's household, proving himself to be a trustworthy and capable servant. His diligence did not go unnoticed. Potiphar recognized Joseph's abilities and placed him in charge of his entire estate. However, Joseph's upright character was put to the ultimate test when Potiphar's wife made advances toward him. She repeatedly sought to seduce him, but Joseph firmly refused her temptations, remaining loyal to his master and to God. He declared, "How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" Genesis 39 verse 9. Even when falsely accused by Potiphar's wife and unjustly imprisoned, Joseph held on to his faith. He trusted that God was working behind the scenes, guiding his steps even through these difficult circumstances. While in prison, he continued to exhibit wisdom and integrity, interpreting the dreams of fellow prisoners with remarkable accuracy. Potiphar's wife, consumed by lust and desire, repeatedly sought Joseph's attention. She made advances toward him, trying to seduce him into wrongdoing. But Joseph remained unwavering in his commitment to God and to his master, firmly refusing her advances. "How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" Genesis 39 verse 9. He declared, making it clear that he would not betray his values or violate his conscience. Despite his steadfast refusal, Potiphar's wife, fueled by anger and resentment, devised a wicked plan. She falsely accused Joseph of assaulting her, claiming that he had made unwanted advances against her. Joseph's innocence was met with disbelief, taken in by the powerful lie woven by Potiphar's wife. His master unjustly cast him into prison. There, far from the comforts and responsibilities of his previous life, Joseph found himself confined within cold, unforgiving walls. Even behind prison walls, Joseph's wisdom and insight shone through. The very nature of his confinement proved a blessing in disguise, allowing him to exercise his God-given talents. Fellow prisoners, troubled by their own dreams, turned to Joseph for understanding. He skillfully interpreted their visions, revealing hidden meanings and offering glimpses into their future. One day, two of Pharaoh's officials were thrown into prison alongside Joseph. They too found themselves tormented by unsettling dreams. The first official dreamt of climbing a vine that bore 3 clusters of grapes. The second dreamed of 7 healthy cows followed by 7 gaunt, sickly cows. Joseph listened attentively to their troubled tales and recognized the profound significance hidden within their visions. He explained, Genesis 40 verses 19 to 22, that these dreams were not mere random occurrences, but prophetic messages from God. The first official's dream foreshadowed his impending freedom and return to favor, symbolized by the lush grapes. However, Joseph cautioned him that the king would soon recall him, a reminder that power can be fleeting. The second official's vision of healthy and sickly cows pointed towards a period of prosperity followed by 7 years of famine. Genesis 40 verses 18 to 19. Joseph's remarkable rise continued when Pharaoh himself summoned him. Recognizing his unparalleled wisdom and understanding, he was appointed as Egypt's prime minister, given the weighty responsibility of overseeing the nation's affairs. Joseph's role was more than just a position of power. It was a divinely orchestrated plan to safeguard nations during a time of impending crisis. He wisely guided Pharaoh in storing vast reserves of grain during the 7 years of abundance, preparing for the inevitable famine that loomed. Genesis 41 verses 25 to 36. This foresight saved countless lives throughout Egypt and beyond when the devastating drought struck as predicted. Egypt became a beacon of hope during this period of widespread suffering. Joseph's compassionate leadership ensured that food was distributed equitably, alleviating the hardship faced by those in need. Genesis 41 verses 53 to 57. His actions demonstrated God's profound love and care for all humanity, extending his blessings even to those outside of Israel. The land of Egypt descended into a period of immense suffering as the 7 years of famine arrived, bringing with it widespread hunger and despair. People were reduced to selling their possessions, even resorting to eating their own livestock. The consequences were devastating, stretching far beyond Egypt's borders. Neighboring nations felt the ripple effect of this crisis, their own food supplies dwindling. Yet amidst this darkness, Joseph emerged as a beacon of hope. Guided by God's wisdom and foresight, he had meticulously prepared for this very moment during the years of abundance. He directed that the stored grain be distributed throughout Egypt, ensuring that no one starved. Genesis 41 verses 53 to 57. Joseph's administrative skills and unwavering compassion played a vital role in alleviating the suffering of his people. The famine, which lasted for a considerable time, pushed individuals to their limits. People faced relentless hardship, struggling to survive in a world where food was scarce and hope seemed distant. Driven by a prophecy and guided by God's hand, Jacob led his 12 sons and their families to Egypt, seeking refuge from the famine that had gripped Canaan. Their journey was fraught with hardship and uncertainty, but the promise of safety and sustenance beckoned them forward. When they finally arrived in Egypt, they found Joseph, now a powerful ruler, waiting for them. The reunion between father and son was filled with overwhelming emotion, years of separation melting away in an instant. Jacob, overcome with joy, embraced his long-lost son, tears streaming down his face. Years had passed since the brothers had last seen their beloved brother, and they were changed by the trials they had endured. Joseph, now a man of stature and influence, treated them with kindness and compassion, welcoming them into his home and providing for their every need. He shielded his father and family from the harshest realities of Egypt's political landscape, ensuring their safety and well-being. They settled in the fertile land of Goshen, where they thrived, raising livestock and cultivating crops. The promise of a future free from famine materialized as God continued to bless Jacob's descendants.